in the first place. We have these Seljuk Turks invading from Central Asia, and they're pushing into the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine emperor calls on the Pope back here in Rome to send help, and in exchange, the Pope basically uses this as a chance to reinforce his own power, his power over the kings, and trying to regain power over the Byzantine Empire. So how does this play out? How does it actually affect European society? First, ultimately, these Christian forces fail to permanently reconquer the Holy Land. They do establish like Christian crusader kingdoms in the Holy Land for a while, but after a couple hundred years, those kingdoms eventually get taken over again. So ultimately, it's a failure in terms of its original mission. One of the more lasting effects, one of the more important effects, is that the Crusades create this east-west divide that we see playing out in the world today. I mean, how many times do you turn on the news and you see, some Islamic terrorist group, in this case ISIS is what's happening right now, and they're coming on and calling on the downfall of the West, that, we're coming for you, Obama, we're coming for you, America. And basically, like, this divide, this sense of conflict between the Christian West and the Muslim East, and then the Jews caught kind of in the middle of this, really comes back to, and really, like, the Crusades really emphasize and really magnify this conflict. But the most important and probably the longest lasting effect is that the Crusades bring European merchants, and particularly Italian merchants, back into contact with the Middle East and the Muslim world. And basically, when these Italian merchants come over here to the Holy Land during the Crusades, they gain access to goods from the Indian Ocean. So things like spices and cotton from India are making their way up here to the Holy Land. Gold from Africa, from the trans-Saharan trade routes, by way of the Swahili city-states, and even things like silks and porcelains from China, gunpowder from China, makes its way through the Indian Ocean over here to the Holy Land. And basically, these Italian merchants start bringing this stuff back into Europe, and it's creating a demand. It's basically bringing Europe back into this web of trade that has existed in the post-classical world, that that Asia and Africa had been involved in for the past 1,000 years. And basically, the wealth from this trade helps to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. Because think about it this way, the feudal system depends on a large class of poor peasants to make it work. Well, when trade starts to pick up, you have this wealthy class of merchants developing, and these merchants live in cities. Cities aren't under the control of a feudal lord. And basically, this starts to challenge the basis of the feudal system, and over the course of a couple hundred years, really starts to eat away at it. So, in summation, like we did the other day, I want you guys to write down 2 questions you have from today's video. Again, these can be clarifying questions. They can also be curiosity questions, things that you're curious about, you'd like to know more about. So that's the first thing. The second thing, for your short answer questions, you have 2. First, explain one cause of the Crusades. And so basically, if we're setting up our chart here, you need to identify a cause, describe it, and then explain very specifically, like tell me step by step, how does that lead to the Crusades? And again, make sure that you define what the Crusades are in your answer. And then on the flip side, explain one effect of the Crusades. And so in this case, you're starting with the Crusades and what they are, and then you're step by step telling me how they impacted European society, or just society in general, in the long run. All right, so hope you enjoyed the video, the Prezi version of it, and I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.